Welcome to the Accumulating Wealth Podcast. I'm Hunter Satterfield.
And I'm Judson Crawford. We're CPAs, wealth advisors, and partners at Klein and Associates, a financial services firm here to help business owners navigate the decisions they face every day.
You know, Judson, I feel like it's been a few weeks since we've been in the studio together. We've got a ton to catch up on, but probably the most important is the news that just dropped 5 minutes ago. We got Fed decision out.
It has been a couple weeks, and we do have a lot to catch up on, but so much more than what you think. And we have guests.
That's right. Let's go. All right, Judson, you teased guests.
Guests.
Who are they?
Today in studio, we lost count. They've been on the podcast so much. We have Scott Clynch and Keith Klein with producer Aaron. We are 4 Red Raiders and a Longhorn.
Oh dear. Hey guys,
this is a theme.
It feels weird to be on the show and it's not July 4th and I don't have hot dogs or spam. So sorry for you, listener.
Yeah, I'm just praying that there's no surprises from you for that.
Well, and I feel like I was just on the podcast after after about a year hiatus. So
you were.
Yeah.
And it was a good one too.
Well, it is great to have you guys back. And listeners, we're not even going to say it. There's a reason they're on, but we're going to do something first and then we'll announce the reason they're on. So guys, as usual, I'm going to start things out. Have you guys heard of this company called NVIDIA? Anybody?
Yeah, I have.
Does anybody know
yogurt with
this morning? No, it's not it. This morning, NVIDIA hit a new market cap of $5 trillion. Never been done. First ever $5 trillion company. So I have the list of all the ones prior to that. You're not even going to guess the first couple companies, but the first ever to hit $1 million in market cap was the Dutch East India Company.
Okay.
Anybody want to guess?
Trading company, right?
Yeah. What was their? Do you know what their monopoly was that they were granted? Anybody?
Park Place?
Nope. It's a great game, by the way.
It is.
No, it was in 1602. And yeah, they had a monopoly to carry out all trading to Asia. They were the first ever million and, by the way, $10 million market cap. You're also not going to guess the $100 million one. It was just a company called Mississippi Company.
Okay.
Huh.
That was it.
What do they buy in Mississippi?
I wonder if they were Mississippi State fans or Ole Miss fans. What do you guys think?
I go
Ole Miss.
They're going to claim Ole Miss right now.
Yeah.
Bandwagon fans.
For sure. Founded in 1717, and they had a monopoly on all French trading in the French colonial companies. Who knew? All right, now we get to some ones that we actually know. Who can name the first $1 billion? It's a telecom company.
AT&T.
AT&T, bingo. First $10 billion. It's a car company.
Chrysler.
No.
Toyota.
GM.
No. GM, very good. First $100 billion company. It's also a telecom. You're not going to get there. It's the Nippon Telegraph and Telephone Company for Japan.
Oh, okay.
It basically was the company in the mid 80s. First $1 trillion company. Apple. Dude, you're good at this game.
Yeah.
How about
You
that?
studied.
I read the Wall Street Journal every
What's
day.
the first? Now we all have to go on record. What's the first $10 trillion company?
Well,
America.
yeah.
No guesses?
10 trillion.
I mean, NVIDIA's halfway there.
Well, isn't America 35 trillion negative?
Yeah, something.
Okay,
Yeah, something like that. We're going to talk about
Per
that too.
$10 trillion company.
Yeah. I'm going to just guess it's going to be something we've never heard of.
I was going to say it's
right. Or it's going to be like Tesla buys something and rolls it in or something like that. Maybe it's Google. I have no idea.
Yeah, or like a meta that just keeps combining with things. I mean, it's not something in the iteration that we have today.
So we'll get back to
Validated.
you listeners in 5 years. when
Maybe
it's-
Kane Waters.
Maybe.
Yeah.
How about that? And that's maybe a great segue, Judson. What
It
is
is.
our announcement about as we head toward 10 trillion? Why are these guys with us today?
Well, we just announced this yesterday at a firm-wide event, but Scott Clynch and Keith Klein are going to be January 1 of 2026, the newest partners of Kane Waters.
Congratulations, boys.
That was great timing.
Thank you.
I practiced without producer EJ.
It's amazing how you're reaching across to that soundboard. Anyways, back to the most important thing. Congratulations, guys.
Yes, thank you. Very excited. Very
Yep.
excited to be part of this company and, continue to, new things coming. And it's
10
great.
trillion.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
Well
Indeed.
deserved.
For
And-
sure. And your clients that are listening are like, hell yeah. This is the official announcement, I guess. But Keith, you started when?
2010, May of 2010.
2010. And then Scott, when did you start at Kenwood?
2013.
2013. It's been a great ride.
Yeah, it's kind of bananas. It's kind of bananas. I was thinking about this, and I mentioned this to Keith before, but Keith and I met in grad school, right? And so we've known each other for a very long time. Never as two dim-witted Texas Tech students could we have imagined that we'd be sitting here as partners together. Hunter and I met when he was recruiting from UT into Ernst & Young. That probably was 2021, 22, somewhere around there.
Really?
01, 02?
Yeah, 02.
And then Scott, of course, I met you when you came on board, 13-ish years ago. It's just great. It's great that we get to do this with people that we can call friends. Yeah, it's a special thing. So I'm proud of you guys. I'm happy for you guys. But we do have questions, or a question.
Oh boy.
Really. One of the things we thought about is that, we have listeners to this podcast that are, in school, in dental school. We have associates that are current associates in practice, and we have a ton of clients that are business owners. Some may have partners. Some may be thinking that partners are coming down the line. And ultimately, for 41 years in this firm, we've been helping our clients bring in partners and have partners themselves. So my big question to you, and I know this is not something you prepared for, but when it comes to being a partner, one day after the announcement, even though you guys have known it for a little bit longer, what does that mean to you? What does it mean to you to be a partner?
I mean, I'll just tell you, I'm in it for the money. That's strictly it.
Good answer.
I mean, 10 trillion,
You're making less money next year, but good answer.
I think for me, I don't know what it's like to be a partner, but I know what I have been preparing in the event that this ever became a thing for me. And it's just, I think going back to whenever I graduated college, I would have never in a million years guessed that I even wanted to be a partner of an accounting firm. But I think what I've learned is being this invested in the people that you work with, the people that pay you for your advice, getting to know those people, building relationships with them. You get so deeply passionate about what we do and who we work with and the people that we impact that all I want is to be more and more involved in how can we improve that? How can we grow that? How can we expand that to more people? How can we provide more jobs for people to get to experience the culture at our office that we get? And I think that even expands, beyond what we can do here inside of our walls, but just helping our clients grow their businesses and grow their family and grow their impact in their community. So just getting to have a say in any way, shape, or form and how we do that as a firm is what I'm most excited about.
I think I'm going to cry.
I was hoping that we'd get some tears on this podcast, finally.
I actually never cried before. I'm sure that's a shock to everybody.
And I haven't since this morning.
And so maybe Keith can make me cry. Keith, how do you answer that?
I was just going to say same,
Yeah, ditto.
Ditto. Yeah.
Ditto. It's about the money. That's what you're saying?
About the money and and all the things. Scott, that was a great answer. And yeah, I mean, I look back on my career, starting at a Big Four accounting firm and, traveling all the time and then having kids, knowing I still wanted to be in client service. And I even talked to Judson about this a little bit last night. Like I went to dinner with him off of Beltline Road. I think it was BJ's.
BJ's Brewhouse.
Yeah, it was BJ's Brewhouse.
We were going nice then.
Yeah, he really broke out.
Get a Pizookie?
I think we split a Pizookie. Yeah. So and just thinking back on that and being able to find something in the realm of client service that doesn't require like what the Big Four asks of you and being able to do this. And now it's just like my closest friends work here and just being integrated. My clients a lot of them are my friends. And I just love the fact that, there's with being a partner, there's some sort of permanency to that. Like, you're not just an employee and you're going to be here and you're going to be helping take care of the Cane Waters brand for many years to come. And I want to make sure I'm respectful of that and make sure that we do things the right way around here and continue to do things the right way. So I'm just happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's all of our second and last jobs.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, Judson, in an attempt to make you cry, I don't know if you know this, but you are my
hero,
my
yes,
Cane Waters family tree granddad.
Well, the beard definitely shows that.
You came from the Big Four to Cane Waters.
Yep.
and then you were a part of bringing Hunter over to Kane Waters.
I actually
from
think
the
I'm
Big
your
Four.
great granddad.
You might be, if yeah. So maybe you're my granddad. So both of you were involved in that, and then it trickled down from there to David Forbes, which many of our listeners know, who's also a partner of the firm. David then brought over Mason and I.
Yep.
So it has been a trickle down effect of going from school to the Big Four and then making our way to Kane Waters. And I think through that relationship, we've become much more than just partners and coworkers, but really, really good friends.
If you could call me Peepaw from now on, I would greatly appreciate it.
I'm just really excited that I have a friend now, because I didn't know until just now that we were buddies. I don't have many of them.
It's
So.
for the listeners.
Yeah, it's all fake. Well, listeners, if you should come celebrate with us, we're going to celebrate these guys in Nashville, our annual meeting. It'll be awesome. So if you're a client of theirs and you want to celebrate with us in person, please come out, go out and sign up. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. And I need one more sign up from a client.
Yeah.
To take the lead.
Yeah.
If you're if you're
yeah.
Keith's client, sign up for the annual meeting
Yeah.
so that he can be back ahead in the number of clients coming, and come celebrate with us in Tennessee. But also, if you are one of their clients or know them through Kane Waters, send them an email of congratulations. You have no idea how much that means. And if you're on your email, go ahead and email Mason at Kane Waters about something as well.
Yeah. Fed decision, probably.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Don't expect a quick reply.
Yeah.
That's right. What does it mean for my mortgage?
Yeah.
Right?
What should I do with my mortgage?
Well, they're going to join us today for some Fed talk, Judson. It's going to be fun.
Okay.
Because 5 minutes ago, before we started recording, Fed dropped, which Polymarket, Scott and I were looking at this before we came on. Polymarket had it at 96.7, that they were going to cut 25 basis points. And the betting markets were correct. 25 basis points, which is what we said, Judson, with when we had Brad on, and Brad and his team over at Tectonic have been closely connected to all of our bond managers who said that this was coming as well. So it's the second cut. I'll go through what we expect for the rest of the year in just a second. There was one in dissent who favored a 50 basis point cut. There was one in dissent who favored no rate cut. In addition to that, the Fed said that it was going to stop quantitative tightening, which is the opposite of quantitative easing, which is what most of our listeners know occurred post GFC. And this quantitative tightening is going to stop effective December 1st. And that's basically the tightening of the money supply. So that is bullish broadly for the economy as well. The Fed said that inflation has moved up and remains somewhat elevated. And they said there are downside risks to employment as well. So it is straight up the dual mandate, like we've talked about, Judson, where they're really focused in on those two things. At the end of the day, it's exactly what we thought. And folks, there's one more Fed meeting this year. Everybody is expecting 25 basis points at that one as well.
It'd be our early Christmas gift,
which would get us to like 3.5 to 3.75. And again, as we talked about on our last meeting, Judson, with Brad, I think everybody's kind of expecting the Fed to kind of get down to like a 3.1 before they're all said and done. So those are the facts, folks, on kind of where we sit. And I think before we get to, what are the implications more broadly, I think we want to talk a little bit about some of the numbers that are out there on mortgage refinances and stuff, guys. But maybe, Scott, could you set the stage a little bit for, up until this last cut, right? So we have the last cut was in September. Of course, this one in October. But prior to this, in the summer, kind of late summer, heading into the fall, you want to talk a little bit about what you were seeing with clients, some of the conversations you were having about what the sort of market has been like, maybe the economy has been like underneath things in small business over the past, 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, sure. I think we've seen across the board in our dental practices, but probably more so in the specialty practices, we've seen a slowdown, right? I mean, it's not been huge. It's not like we've seen 25, 30% slowdown by any means, but we've been very blessed post-COVID to be busy and have a lot of patients that have time and money to spend. Treatment acceptance was high for several years, but people can just only take so much inflation over a period of time for so long before they have to start being or showing some discretion on where they're spending money. So treatment acceptance numbers, I certainly think, have been down. Openings and schedules have been up. More and more people on a call list, so to speak. I've seen a lot of clients that we're updating tax projections for in the fall that are overpaid already because they're maybe not hitting revenue numbers that we thought they were. At the same time, their staff are asking for raises because they're going through all the same things that their patients are. So you've got revenue down, you've got expenses up, profit down, which should mean good news with your planners this year as you're doing your year-end tax projections. Hopefully, there will be few surprises. But the encouraging side of this is with the Fed cutting rates now and expected to do it again before the end of the year and on into 2026. This is typically how we're going to stimulate the economy out of this and allow people to have a little bit more spending options, even down to taking advantage of third-party financing, for instance. We will expect those rates to come down next year too. And if those come down, you should expect higher treatment acceptance rates because typically it's not a matter of do they need what you're telling them they need. It's a matter of can I afford what you're telling me I need.
So before we get to some of that, in sort of kind of what we would recommend clients as we're going into that, what have you been telling clients right now to fight, like in this current environment, to fight a lot of these things, whether it's layoffs that might be happening, inflation and various costs? Like, what are the things you've specifically been talking to clients about?
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do in these instances, right? I mean, this is economics at work, and no individual small business is going to beat economics. So I think really it's going back to the basics that you probably did a lot of when you either started up your practice or bought into your practice or were trying to grow your practice. It's keeping a call list of patients that have come in for a consult. You've built a treatment plan for them, but they haven't moved forward with scheduling. Don't let them just fall by the wayside. Check in on them, especially like we talked about, if rates are going down and they're going to be able to afford their financing options now, follow up with them. Use that as a marketing technique. Hey, the Fed has cut rates. It's easier to finance now. Just so you know, we do offer third-party financing. We can look at this for you if you want to get scheduled. So taking advantage of that type of call list is important. I think making sure that you're not letting your accounts receivables build up during times where cash could be a little bit tight is extremely important. And then if you're not currently offering third-party financing, you have to be doing that, I think, because again, if somebody's coming for a consultation with you for a procedure and you've diagnosed their treatment, almost 10 times out of 10, they agree that they need this treatment and they probably want it. It's just a matter of making it affordable for them.
It's options.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's options. They may want to look at third-party financing and ultimately decide that they can carve it out of their money, but giving them options is a much better way to get acceptance than just saying this is what it is.
Correct.
Yeah, if it's a $10,000 case, if you can split it into two $5,000 cases, do it over 6 months, something like that. Just make it easier for them to say yes, right? You want them to say yes. And the other thing I'd add to what Scott was saying there is, when your practice is busy and you're going 100 miles an hour, it's really sometimes service can be lacking. You're just trying to get patients in, get patients out the door. In these slower times, give patients that experience. Roll out the red carpet, talk to them a little bit longer than maybe you would and build that personal relationship with your patients and pay attention to everything that's going on with them.
And do the easy marketing that you sometimes don't like to do. Ask for referrals consistently, be on social media with creative posts. I mean, those are the things that are literally free and will help you with new patients. But I mean, in these economic times, it is a fight for the new patients that are out there, right?
Right.
Yeah, so let me set the stage. I love all that conversation. And let me set the stage a little bit, Scott, and pulling on something that you said about, the reduction in rates should hopefully help stimulate things a little bit. And give it kind of an example, listeners, of like if you just think about 30-year mortgage rates, which I'll get to some of the numbers since the last rate cut on what's happened. But if you think about a 30-year mortgage that maybe was locked in at 6.5, 6.75 over the past few years, and you think, okay, now that reduction in interest may be down to 6, right? 75 basis point reduction. Not only does it reduce the actual amount of monthly mortgage or interest, that person is paying, but a lot of times when they refinance, they actually extend that back out over 30 years. So if they've been paying it for 2 years, now extending that also reduces the principal, right? And so the Fed is effectively going to free up cash, right, in this person's budget that will allow them to go do things like maybe pay down some credit cards that they need to, or go get Johnny's braces done, or, go buy that car or whatever else it is. So that's one of the mechanisms that as you think about how interest rate cuts can impact, it's not just the interest that's being paid, it's allowing those people to refinance and spread things out. So give you some stats from a couple of things as we head into sort of this conversation of next year. So in the second quarter of this year, guys, 90% of all rate and term refinancings, all right, were for loans originated in 23 and 24. So we're basically just almost every single refinance was coming off of a very high time frame. Now, since the last cut, and we talked about this, Judson, on the podcast, that actually initially rates jumped a little bit on mortgages because it's all based on the 10-year. But for a very small period after the cut, there was a reduction in rates, and refinancing activity jumped 80% in that one period, and then it flattened again because rates actually popped a little bit. But as we see this 25 and the next 25, it will take time for it to go through the system. But as we see those things, we are going to see some positive outcomes as a result. So Wall Street Journal did a really interesting analysis of what they're calling in the money mortgages, right? So basically what they're saying is, and Judson, this goes to what you and I talked about of like, when do you actually look at a refinance? We said, hey, you need to be dropping 75 to 100 basis points. Well, interestingly, they call in the money 75 basis points. So when you can drop 75 basis points, they say, hey, that's worth looking at because you can reduce your costs. So those in the money refinances, if rates are at 6.5, there's only 2.5 million mortgages that are in the money. Okay. But when they drop to 6, you grab another 10 million mortgages. When they drop to 5.5, you grab another 25 million mortgages. Right. And I think, guys, that's what we're talking about when we talk about this. It's sort of turning things back on and sort of freeing up these folks that can go refinance, extend out terms, reduce interest, maybe finally sell their home. They can go grab
finally buy a home,
right?
Right, because
exactly.
the payments at 3/4 of a point or just hit that budget number,
right? Grab equity in their home, right, by doing sort of a cash out refi and being able to grab some of that equity. So, I mean, I think the four of us we were talking about before we went on, the four of us, obviously, and this is a lot of what the Trump administration as well as the Fed is looking at, are pretty bullish on what we're looking at when we look at 2026. Now, it doesn't mean the stock market won't crash. Like those, we've talked about that. The stock market's not the economy. But I mean, Keith, let's start with you. Like when we start thinking about the 26 economy and a lot of these positives that might come, assuming we don't have a stock market crash, which is a separate issue, what are the types of things you're already starting to tell your clients as we head into 26 about how to think about creatively grabbing some of this opportunity that might be there with patients?
Yeah, when I first started at Kane Waters, I can't remember who it was, but someone told me, don't fight the Fed, right?
Probably Judson.
Yes,
in all of his wisdom.
It's probably Judson.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you see rates start to decline, that's a very powerful thing over what the stock market and how companies are valued. So I do feel like, well, yeah, there's no guarantee that the stock market's not going to go down next year. In a declining interest rate environment, which I think we've entered and will continue to be in through most of 2026. I think you're going to see a lot of positives for the stock market through that. Now, obviously, any geopolitical disaster could sway that, but I think that's going to be something that's more likely than not.
Yeah, and I think too, like there could be some of the mega caps that have ripped this year because of AI capex or whatever. Those could drift down, but again, the underpinnings of the economy, a lot of these really good core companies, the AT&Ts and things like that, they should do well in this environment, right?
Right. Their borrowing cost is less. They can expand their operations for cheaper. There's just a lot of things out there that a lot of companies can do now that are no longer as cost prohibitive as they were when interest rates are lower.
Yeah. So, and Scott, coming over to you sort of as the counter to the consumer, right? So we just talked about how the things that you have been talking to your clients about in a tougher environment, if we do see a loosening environment from a consumer standpoint, I mean, what would you be telling your clients as they're approaching patients next year about how to be effective and opportunistic?
Well, so you mentioned 25 million people would be in the money if a rate dropped to, what'd you say?
5.5.
5.5. Well, those 25 million people happen to have teeth, I think, right?
Unless it
depends on the states. Yeah.
I'm not going to name the states where they might not have teeth, but
so, I mean, 25 million people that have teeth now have more increased cash flow by their potential ability to refinance debt, right? So I don't know how you actually go market that. I don't know if you try to advise
Tell
your
your
patients
patients to
refinance
refi.
their
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, go
Hire a
refinance
mortgage
your house
broker to
and then-
sit in your office.
But I think you also have to look within your own practice. You know, if you have the ability to refinance a practice loan or maybe even some personal debt that frees up cash flow, I think the immediate thought we all have is great, that's more money I can spend or more money I can save. But I would challenge it a bit further. If we're in a time where you've got 8 to 15 staff members asking for a raise and those staff members are crucial to your growth, well, guess what that free cash flow might allow you to do right now is lock those employees up, give them a raise, keep them around a little bit longer, not have to bring on new employees, be able to grow your practice. Obviously, taking on new debt to expand your practice is going to be huge, where it's been a lot more prohibitive over the last few years. One thing, though, that I think we get a lot of questions on related to expansion or debt refinance in general is for our clients that have taken out practice debt in the last, you know, 3 years, 4 years, you're looking at loans that could be anywhere between 5.8 to 7.5, maybe even upwards of 8%. So we get a question a lot of, well, how long do I wait as these cuts are happening to move forward with it? And I think you guys have talked about this on the podcast before, but I think it's also important for our clients to know if you're waiting to be able to go get a loan at 3% in your practice, that will probably never happen again in your working lifetime. So you don't necessarily need to be waiting around that long to refinance. But if you're seeing, 3/4 of a point or a full point reduction in your interest rate, like you mentioned, Hunter, when you refinance that and stretch it back out, that is real opportunity of increased cash flow that we can put back into the business, put into your retirement, put into your personal life. There are a lot of options that we can take advantage of there.
Yeah, if your cash flow is just dying right now, go do it, right? You've had a couple rate drops. It may be the time so that you can recover some of that cash flow. But if you're at a decent spot, but you just want to lower your rate, well, we're pretty sure you're going to have another quarter point in December. Maybe you can wait a month and a half or 2 months and play this out a little bit. So, I mean, it kind of depends on personal situation as well.
Yeah, and one thing to that point, a lot of this stuff is probably going to be, if they know they're going to lower it another quarter point in December, that'll start to get priced in, sooner rather than later. They don't necessarily always
in home
wait.
mortgages,
Yes.
mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, again, we've talked on here before that this stuff is going to take time. And so one of the reasons we wanted to address this today in light of the Fed cut and have you guys in some different perspectives on is now is the time to start to plan and be strategic, right? And that's kind of one of the things that we want to be a bit of a takeaway from this. It's like, to Scott's point, you go out and go ahead and plan on growth for next year, and stay in the basics next year too, which is I'm going to go out and get my C. I'm going to learn a new procedure that allows me to take advantage of this, potentially expanding opportunity in the economy. I'm going to make sure I have the staff members that are there to treat these patients, right? I'm going to continue effective marketing, Judson, to your point, to ensure that when those patients are ready to spend, they're going to come spend it with me, right?
Or I'm going to hire some smart guys like on this podcast to help me figure out where to improve.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So anyway, awesome talk as usual. We will be back next week, maybe with a little scatter shooting, but we're also going to maybe touch on 529s, which would be fun. So thanks, fellas. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks
for having us.
529s.
Congrats. And everybody, please come celebrate with us in Nashville.
Yeah. Thanks, Granddad and Grandpappy. Really appreciate it.
The best way to keep up with this is to hit subscribe. You never have to miss an episode, and you can always go back and catch up on the ones you did miss. If you're enjoying the show, leave us a review. We really do want to hear what you think. Got a question, comment, or even an idea for your future episode? Reach out at canewaters.com/wealth. We read them, and yes, we actually reply. And if you want to learn more about what we do when we're not behind the mic, visit canewaters.com. You can see where we're helping more than 3,400 clients work towards their long-term financial goals. Thanks for listening to the Accumulating Wealth podcast. We'll see you next time.